my name's Scott Richardson. I'm a member of the United States Air Force and also the lead front-end software engineer here at Project Reclass. I just kind of want to go over a quick demo of our ToyNet application that we've worked on this summer. So when you first visit the application, you're visited with this beautiful splash screen, which our UI and UX designer Cecil actually designed many of these illustrations. And you'll be able to hear more about his process in the technology track. But this splash screen just kind of gives us an overview of what ToyNet is, why ToyNet, and about Project Reclass. And if we go over here and we hit the try it button, we are brought to the actual emulator. So in the emulator, we have different devices. We have routers, switches, and hosts. For the hosts, we can create different hosts, we can create different switches, and we can even create different routers. The host basically represents maybe your computer, and a switch maybe represents a device that connects multiple computers, while your router represents a device that connects multiple networks. From within this application, we can actually drag these different devices and connect them. Whenever we make these connections, we can see that it updates here in the visuals panel so we can explore our new network. So as you can see, we created a switch 3 and connected it to our router 0. We can also do that same thing with hosts. And as you can see in updates, we can also delete. And it works very intuitively by having drag and drop, and everything is draggable and very interactive. We'll be going more into detail with kind of the decisions that went into making this application and some of the frameworks that we use. And you'll be able to learn more about that in the design track. Back to you, Tate. I think you're muted, Tay.
How about now? Am I sharing my screen?
Yep, you're good.
All right, so that was ToyNet, and it's still in its infancy, but we worked very hard to get that platform to be bug-free. We've been doing a lot of bug fixes throughout the summer, and we are very excited to have it deployed. Also, if you're interested in infrastructure and deployment, also join our technology track. We have a lot on that. Any questions so far from anyone? I actually cannot see the chat, so if someone can monitor the chat. We'll be asking for questions throughout the day. In the technology track, they'll be you'll see these big yellow screens. Feel free to pitch in at any time, but especially during these sections. All right, I'm going to move forward then. Buddy, so I wanted to give a shout out to two people who've really leaned in and helped us throughout the summer, even though they are not members of Project Reclass. So we have 3 different kinds of roles you can be. You can be a core member where you dedicate approximately 30 hours a month to us. You are owning projects, you're leading projects. You can also be an intern if this is a new field for you, if you don't have enough time to create tasks for others, but you are still excited to help out. And that's about a 15 to 20 hour per month commitment. But then there's also buddies. Most of our buddies have more than 4 years of industry experience. And they are here just to help out. We may not be able to teach them a lot in their domain, but they want to help the cause. So first I'm going to turn it over to Hiro to talk about how she got involved and what she likes to do, if she can stay on the screen. And you'll have to unmute yourself.
Hi, I'm Hiro, and I was doing content strategy for Project Reclass, and I'm a content strategist. But one of the biggest projects that I did with Project Reclass is to, I guess, if you're going to watch the vision track, you'll see, but I headed the project on moving the Reclass website from Wix to WordPress.
And that was very needed. Some of you will see a screenshot of the original WordPress. It was designed by co-founders, as I like to say. And Hiro made it beautiful, professional, and that helped us get even more volunteers. So thank you, Hiro, and for all of your insights with respect to SEO and all sorts of marketing concepts. Next, I'd like to ask Matt if he's on the line to chat a little about what he does in his day job and why he's involved with Project Reclass. I think you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. In my day job, I work as an SRE at a financial tech firm. And so we're involved with lots of electronic trading, big data, low latency networking, low latency computing. And so Tay asked me if I could get involved as a buddy with Project Reclass. I'm kind of excited to be working with a lot of people who are earlier on in their careers, and so I can help them out on the technology side, give them feedback, and also work with people on building their resumes to help them get a permanent job, and also just kind of provide experience and feedback on some of the engineering efforts that Project Reclass is working on as part of building their learning system.
And the extensive networks knowledge that Matt has helped us to bootstrap our ideas on the ToyNet platform, because we want to make sure that it aligns with the industry's needs and true facts. Okay. And I would like to give a shout out to Cecil Green and Aram Chung. Cecil designed this beautiful advertisement that brought you all in here today. And Aram and Cecil have both been helping to create slide templates so that we look a little more professional. We're never going to talk about the previous slides that we made, but moving forward, we're going to have these Reclass branded slides. And I would like to turn it over to Cecil to mention what he is looking for with respect to user feedback.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cecil. I've been serving with Project Reclass for about 3 months as the UX designer. And so now that we've built out this awesome prototype, we'd like to invite volunteers to do some user testing. And so these tests will be conducted over Zoom. Will be moderated about 30 to 40 minutes. And we're hoping to kind of gather a diverse pool of participants of different backgrounds and demographics to help us test out and validate some of our ideas. And so I guess over the next few weeks, we'll be hoping to conduct those. And I'll post in the chat if anyone's interested or know anyone interested, please go ahead and sign up via this Google form, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Cecil. So Cecil has done 2 user feedback so far with some of our volunteers. It's a great way to be a buddy. If you're not interested in providing industry knowledge, there's still a lot that you can do in terms of participation of this format. Because we have all seen the application, it is impossible for us to give an unbiased feedback moving forward. We will also later in the year and early next year be user testing the curriculum piece. So is this concept intuitive to you? We want to do some A/B tests. So if you're interested in getting a Net Plus cert, that might be an awesome opportunity for you to get involved. And I will leave it to Kunal to include this link in a follow-up email as well. And if Kunal, you had any follow-up thoughts before we hand it over to the logistics team.
No, I just want to invite everyone who has been on this call. I want to thank you for making the time, for getting to hear about how Tay and I wanted to come together to form this program. And I'm excited for whichever pathway you want to choose. If you want to learn more about how we're trying to reach out to more prisons, how we're trying to expand to more companies to work with, then I invite you to come to the vision track. And if you want to learn more about how ToyNet works, the future of ToyNet, that is where you should be speaking with Tara and Tay to make sure you're put into that breakout room. It's an incredibly exciting time here at Project Reclass as we get ready for the next big push and get ready for 2021. 2020 has been a difficult year for everyone, but we're excited for the chance to continue our work and get more people on board. And hopefully, as you're seeing what we're showing, if you would like to join us, At the end of this panel or the discussion, we would love to have you send us a message and put an application in.
Hey, and Kunal, before we move to the breakout room, Joseph has a question that states, have you considered licensing ToyNet in addition to using it for internal use?
Could Joseph clarify for us what licensing means in this case? Is it to prevent copyright issues, or is it to like track users? I think you are muted, and I would love to hear what you're saying. Still bad. Is there like a microphone button somewhere? I'm guessing this is you. Oh, there we go. Wait. However, I can't hear your voice. Maybe you will need to type. Sometimes even if the application is unmuted, your computer is muted, so we still can't get the audio. It's been a continual challenge for us since we started this organization within COVID. There's many organizations that had to transition to COVID, but we had to get started when like we never met each other or anything, and we had to figure out the technology.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
he's here.
All right, good. Real quick, no, I mean by licensing is, I'm very, one of the projects my company is working on is actually more workforce development than technology. The technology plays into it, and we look for. I'm always keep my eye out for innovative delivery of technology learning, especially at the lower levels in the education spectrum. And I was just wondering, I mean, if you would ever put this ToyNet on the market for schools or whatever to purchase and utilize.
Absolutely. So one thing that Kunal and I decided early on is we're never going to charge for this. It does make our nonprofit structure a little difficult to maintain sometimes, but we want to maintain a fully volunteer force and keep this accessible. That being said, I think it is really important to license it and make sure that we do have a handle, especially it's open source. We want to make sure that when other people are using this tool that there's no confusion about who owns it. And we would love to get involved with whatever organizations are willing to use ToyNet, even to test drive ToyNet, so that we can make it as good as possible, both for our users within and outside of prisons. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. I'll circle back with this with you guys offline.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And I encourage you to go into the technology track to see how it all works in real life and in real demonstration purposes as well. So you can see the back end work at the ToyNet application.
We do actually have about 5 minutes. We could just go into the break early, but are there any other questions that anyone wants to ask here? And we encourage you all to be even more engaged and talking with us throughout the 2 workshops.
Have you thought about taking this type of program to schools?
It's not our priority right now, but we are happy to do so. Do you have a specific profile for the schools that you're thinking about, or age groups?
Probably teens, because I was thinking that you guys talked about making an investment in people while they're in prison so that they don't come back to prison.
Yeah.
What about making investments in people before they get to prison?
Can I answer this one real fast, Tay?
Sure, I'll go after you.
Yep, one of our panelists actually will be able to speak about her work where she's working with justice-involved teens to avoid them getting caught up in the prison or the school to pipeline prison. So she's helping with coding, and as we expand, we would like to go into more areas, but right now we're working with veterans in prison. We would like to expand to the American prison population is 2.2 million at this point. So that is larger than some countries, and that's why we are looking in that sphere, but we do want to think about how we can expand. So I'll turn it back to Tay.
Yes, I think one approach that Kunal and I both share is that there are a lot of programs doing a lot of things, but they actually do focus more towards the younger population. We see less for transitioning adults, whether it be regardless of prisons. There's a lot more programs for youth, and that is very important. And if our tool can be applied to them, that would be wonderful. But our main user focus for now is adults, just because we see that need. Does that answer your question, Adam?
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm assuming you have a curriculum to go along with ToyNet?
We do, and we won't be diving into that side very much in this hack day. However, if you're ever curious, it is open source, so I can send you a link to take a look. We are going to work on it. It's actually a priority come Q4 and next year Q1. We are building out, I've built out, so the Net Plus textbook, I don't think I have it here. It's about this thick, and we've only turned about a fifth of it into lessons. It's the OSI model and some of the details around the history of Ethernet. We still have VPNs, we still have virtual machines, we still have a lot that we need to cover. So that's where I hope to focus more of my efforts, and one of our volunteers, Arm Chung, is working on facilitating the curriculum piece. If anyone is interested in writing curriculum and not coding, we would appreciate that help as well.
Hey, and Kunal, we have another question. Are you networking with companies to help with recruitment after the veterans leave incarceration?
Come to the vision chat and you'll get to hear Megan discuss how we're thinking of moving on with that.
Yeah, we want your input.
And then the last thing before we do the breakout, if it's okay with you, Tay, I just want to describe real fast how our classroom setting looked like so people can think of, what the world was pre-COVID when it came to teaching.
Sure.
So just real fast, like I said, when I was
in the vision track, but we can do a quick one here.
Yeah, just a quick right here, just so people understand, like when I was able to work with West Point at the Bar Prison Initiative lessons, I was seeing this hunger for learning. So when I went to go speak with the prison officials in Rutledge, they were very eager to have us come in, and I wasn't sure how. It's been over, at that point, been over 3 years since I had done what I did over at West Point. So when I walked in, I didn't know what I would expect to see, and I saw that same level of commitment. And Tay will be able to speak about that hunger. She was able to see students who were willing to just put their full and utter dedication into our material. They were studying outside of material. They were working together, and that's something that makes the service a unique institution where it's a shared hardship. You go to the field, you go to the fleet, you go everywhere it may be in your service, and you form this camaraderie. So when they were there, we had a student who had Muslim services on Friday, so he couldn't make it to the lessons I would teach. The rest of the class would help him stay with us as we progress through this next Security Plus textbook. They were a cohort, and they were, through the shared duty and commitment they had to service, wanted to make sure they all finished the course together. And that's what made us want to work with veterans first in prison, because they are, to a degree, a homogenous group. We, as service members, understand that when we raise our right hand, we are swearing an oath to the Constitution, and that means something greater than ourselves. So that when they're in prison, they are still former veterans, they're still former service members, and that will always be a part of them, and we always will honor that when we teach with them. So that's something that's driven myself when I work with the material, and I work with Tay and our tech team and everyone else to make sure that we are honoring their service and remembering them as individuals and trying to work with them so they can come back in society. And to get back to Adam's point, that's why we were working so hard with, there's not many opportunities for veterans to come back. Oftentimes you go to prison, like that's the end of it, but we want there not to be the end. 95% come back out. Let's help them come back out and not be ripped away from their families, their fathers, their sisters, their mothers. They are part of our community, and they deserve to have a chance if they want to take that chance.
I can resonate with the piece about the level of focus and dedication they had to the class. I mean, I worked at Google, Amazon, like these are not places that have a lot of people who are lazy. They're very ambitious, but the amount of attention these students had to the curriculum was unparalleled to anything I'd seen in my life. And I just only gone in once, but it was hugely impactful to me. And I hope we can share that passion moving forward. And I will turn it to Megan.
We have one more question. Any plans to teach other topics such as coding languages?
We don't yet have plans for coding languages. And the reason is because that is the most supported remote learning platform type out there right now, I think. There's a lot of support for learning. Like I know one of our volunteers, Steven, who's on the line, he learned Python through an app, which blows my mind, honestly, because I didn't think that's possible. So that is the last thing on our list. I would rather go into security or cloud applications. However, it is not on our list. It's just not our priority right now.
Take it away, Megan.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will be breaking out to our tech and our vision track here in the next few minutes. Sarah and Tara will be helping put you into each of those breakout rooms. If you're not sure what breakout room you want to be in yet, just hang tight and Tara and Sarah and I will discuss what you want to potentially view, and then we will be able to assist you with that. And then at any point, if you need to leave the breakout rooms, you can join the main meeting again, and Sarah will be there to meet you to put you back in your breakout rooms.